Am I the a-hole for favoring some of my nibbling over the ones that were made out of an affair behind my back? When I was 24, I experienced the biggest betrayal of my life. My ex-wife, Helen, had an affair with my brother, Jason. It wasn't just that I found out about the affair, but I also learned that the child I had been raising for almost 3 years wasn't mine. It was Jason's. We got divorced, and I made sure Helen was drained in the divorce. After the divorce, Helen and Jason got married, and I told Jason he was dead to me. I made it clear that whatever kids he had in the future would never be considered my family. Fast forward to now, Jason's oldest kid is 15. I don't interact with him or his other 3 siblings. I'm not rude to them, but I keep it civil at most. I won't lie, I favor my other nieces and nephews from my younger sister over Jason's kids. I take them out, buy them things, and genuinely enjoy spending time with them. I love them with all my heart, and I know they love me too. I'm not married and don't plan to be again, but I'm in a long-term relationship and have a well-paying job. Because of that, I can afford to spend on my nieces and nephews, and I don't hesitate to do so, within reason of course. Recently, I bought my nephew Tyler a new monitor and PC. He's really into gaming, and his whole setup was getting outdated. So I thought he could use an upgrade. A couple of days ago, I took him out, and when I went to pick him up, Jason and his family were there. I ignored Helen and Jason, said hi to my sister and the kids, and left with Tyler. When we got back, Tyler was, of course, excited and showing off the new gear. I could tell Jason's kids were jealous, but that's not my problem. Tyler went upstairs to set it up, and Jason and his family left. Later, my sister pulled me aside and asked if I could stop buying expensive stuff like that in front of Jason's kids, because it hurt their feelings. I told her that wasn't my issue. In the real world, they're going to see other people getting things they can't have, and they'll just have to deal with it. She accused me of punishing them for what Helen and Jason did, but I told her I wasn't. We went back and forth, with her asking if I was punishing innocent kids. I told her again that just because I wasn't spending money on them didn't mean I was punishing them. I got frustrated and told her if she was so worried, I could stop supporting her kids and give that money to Jason's kids instead. That shut her up, and I left. Later, she called me and said she just felt bad for them. She understood why I wasn't close to them, but mentioned how often Jason's kids ask why I hate them and why they can't have fun with me too. She asked me to at least consider building a relationship with them, even if I don't spend money on them. I don't understand why I should feel obligated. I don't owe them anything. They have 2 other uncles and 2 aunts, so it's not like they're deprived of family. Why should I force myself to spend time or money on kids that were born out of an affair? To me, that's all they are, especially the one I raised for 3 years. It's also infuriating that they only told me about the affair because Jason finally wanted to be a dad. What if he had never decided that, and I ended up raising another man's child for even longer? Now they expect me to put my feelings aside again? I already did that during the divorce, when my parents and siblings sided with Jason and Helen, just because she was pregnant. The only person who supported me at my lowest was my sister, the one here now. I know she means well, but I'm tired of this situation. That's why I'm here. I feel like a mess and just need some outside opinions. What do you think? Now for the top comments. Don't cut off your relationship with your sister or her kids. But tell her that if she doesn't want things to be awkward with Jason, Helen, or their kids, she should make sure you never run into them at her place. If they drop by unexpectedly when you are coming over, she should text you so that you can stay away. And she should tell her kids not to brag to their cousins about stuff you give them. Jason and Helen's kids should absolutely know the history of why you don't have a relationship with them. The 15-year-old in particular is old enough to understand. It won't be pleasant knowledge for them, but somebody needs to tell them that you don't just randomly hate them because of something wrong with them. Kids tend to assume the worst about themselves, and it's not fair to them to let them go on thinking they did something to alienate you. I'm not saying you should push yourself to have a relationship with them, but they deserve the truth, in an age-appropriate way. So true. Kids often blame themselves when things are not right. Share the truth with them, and let their parents explain what garbage they are to the kids. The fact that the kids are asking questions points to the truth coming out sooner or later. And that will hurt the kids even more, and it will be entirely their own fault. Not the a-hole. Your ex had a long-term affair with your brother and lied to your face daily the entire time she let you think the child you raised for almost 3 years was yours when it was his. Why in the world would anyone think you would want anything to do with your ex and your brother? And as there is no relationship with them, why would you have a relationship with their children? Yes, it is sad, but innocents are sometimes the victim of the poor decisions made by their parents. I wonder if your sister's husband came home, told her he was leaving her for her other sister, then had kids with her other sister. Would she run right out and have a loving relationship with those kids? Next story. Am I the a-hole for giving my son a down payment on a house but not my daughter? I have 2 kids, a son and a daughter. My son is a hard-working guy, been saving up for years, but he is struggling to get a house in today's insane market. My daughter, on the other hand, married a wealthy guy a few years back. Her husband's family is loaded, and they live in a big fancy house that, frankly, makes ours look like a shack. No shame, just reality. My son finally found a place he loves, but he was short on the down payment. My wife and I decided to help him out, give him some cash to make it happen. We're not talking millions here, just enough to get him over the line. He's super grateful, and honestly, it feels good to be able to do that for him. Now, my daughter heard about it and she's furious. She's accusing us of favoritism, saying that we never gave her any financial help like this. Thing is, we did help her a lot in the past. She was kind of a mess growing up, always getting in trouble, dropping out of college, even a stint in rehab. We spent a small fortune getting her life back on track. And when she married into money, we thought, great, she's set now. We're not exactly rolling in it ourselves, so helping her husband buy a 3rd vacation home is not on our list of priorities. Now she's telling everyone I'm playing favorites and it's driving a wedge in the family. I don't think it's unreasonable to help my son get a house when he's starting from scratch, especially since we've already given her so much support over the years. So am I the a-hole here, or is my daughter just entitled? Not the a-hole. Tell her that you have supported them each financially in the way that they needed. She got rehab, and he got a house. Or ignore her and don't explain it at all, because you don't owe an explanation to a grown adult that's acting like a spoiled brat. She doesn't need help with a house, and her brother does. Why is that a problem for her? He's just helping his son get on his feet. His daughter is already well off, so it makes sense that his son would need more financial support at this point. They already helped her daughter through rehab and getting to her feet. My parents helped my siblings by guaranteeing both their home loans. For me, they gave me $10,000 for a home, as after retirement they disqualify as guarantors. They babysat thousands of hours for my siblings, for actual kids and pets over ongoing 20+ years. But I have asked maybe 100 hours in total for my cats over 4 years. Yeah, count out the total in both hours and dollars. Bet the daughter is up thousands. I'm in recovery and went to rehab 5 times. My family spent at least $100,000 desperately trying to get me sober. They've gone to family days at some of these rehabs and spoken to their other families. Some took out second mortgages on their houses and other drastic measures. It's expensive to get actual good treatment, in the US at least. Next story. Am I the a-hole for letting my ex and my kids' half-siblings be poor when I could help? I have an ex with whom I share 2 kids, 13 male and 12 male. Our relationship did not work out and we broke up 7 years ago. Since I was the financially stable one, she wanted me to have full custody. I have had full custody ever since. She has visitation, but she only uses it intermittently. Quickly after the breakup, she started dating a guy with money. He is from overseas. She quickly got pregnant by the guy and they had a son. The guy did not want to raise someone else's kids, so she moved 3 hours away and completely stopped seeing our kids for almost 2 years. It turns out the guy's money was actually family money, and when his conservative family found out about my ex and the baby, they cut them off. Also, their son had some developmental issues. She got pregnant again, and a few months later, her boyfriend left and returned to his home country. She is now 6-ish months pregnant with no job and taking care of a special needs kid. She called me last week and asked me for financial help. They're living out of a motel and she is running out of money. I have a lake house about 30 minutes from her. She asked if she could stay there. I said no. She asked if I would send her money. I said no. She called me an a-hole. She said that I am letting my family suffer unnecessarily when I have the means to help. I told her I have no obligation to help, and we have been arguing ever since. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. You have responsibilities to your kids, as did she. But she doesn't have custody, so let's say that's not part of this particular question. You do not have responsibility to your ex or any other kids she has. She can call you anything she wants. She's your ex. You can't facilitate visitation or anything else that's for the benefit of your two children. But it's more than reasonable to say no to anything else. She needs to chase the other kid's father or other family down for their support if she can. Correct. My ex has kids with a new person. I have no desire to meet them. My son occasionally interacts with them, which is fine. But I have no obligation or responsibility in that. They have two parents. I'm not one of them. Did she have second thoughts before leaving her own kids for another man? No. She was heartless, so then now she can't request anything. Have you ever contacted your lawyer when she moved and dropped contact with your kids? It might be a good idea. Protect your children from this on and off relationship. It's not heating emotionally. Basically was told that it is virtually impossible to remove visitation rights without some evidence of abuse. That might have been good advice at a time, but with a history of abandoning the children for 2 to 3 years, moving away, still not really actively pursuing visitation, etc., I would disagree that you can't have visitation dropped, especially if your kids aren't interested in seeing her. As you've indicated that you are financially stable, it would be worth consulting with an attorney. Protecting your biological children trumps all. Just my thoughts. The people who told me it was basically impossible are my attorneys. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to cancel my vacation after my brother demanded I pay for his emergency surgery instead? So here's the situation. I, 30 female, have been planning a 2-week vacation to Europe with my partner for the past year. We've both saved up a lot of money for this trip, and it's a big deal for us because we've never been on a major vacation together before. The flights, hotels, everything has already been paid for. Last week, my brother, 35 male, called me in a panic, saying he needs emergency surgery for a dental issue. It's not life-threatening, but his tooth infection is bad, and it needs to be dealt with soon. He doesn't have insurance due to lifetime of bad financial decisions, and the procedure is going to cost about $10,000. He asked me to loan him the money, but there's no way I have an extra $10,000 lying around after paying for this vacation. When I told him that, he got mad and said I should cancel my trip to help him, since family comes first. He even suggested I ask for refunds on the flights and hotels, as though that would magically solve the problem. I told him I felt bad for his situation, but I wasn't going to cancel a trip we'd been planning for a year over his poor financial choices, especially when this isn't a life-or-death situation. He lost it, called me selfish, accused me of abandoning him in his time of need, and got our mom involved. Now my mom is pressuring me to cancel and help him out, saying it's just a vacation and I can always reschedule. But I don't think it's fair that I should be expected to sacrifice something I've worked hard for because my brother can't handle his own responsibilities. Am I the a-hole? Is he lying about the cost to drain me of money or something? Now for the comments. And how much is mom contributing, since she's butting in? The dentist has payments planned too. Care credit is a thing, and I want to know what dental procedure costs $10,000 that deals in infections, because I've been through a load of dental procedures, and none of them came close to that amount. I used to be a dental assistant. There is no emergency that is $10,000. A tooth extraction with bone graft and implant don't cost anywhere near that much. My first thought was that this procedure isn't going to cost that much. My second thoughts was that bills from urgent dental procedures that aren't covered by insurance are usually sent to his home after the procedure is finished. Even hypothetically, if OP offered to pay, she could ask to see the bill/claim and pay the dental office directly. My third thought was that the brother probably would have demanded that OP pay him directly and not the dentist, which is a total BS because he doesn't need the money for a dental procedure. He chose a dental procedure because it's not like OP can open his mouth and check that the surgery actually happened. The money would be gone, and OP would have been funding another one of his crappy financial decisions. Not the a-hole, he's trying to scam you. Last story. Am I the a-hole for confronting my daughter-in-law about her constant lying and refusing to apologize? I, 56 female, have a son and things have been tense because of his wife, Emily, 28 female. I've noticed over the past year that Emily tends to stretch the truth or flat out lie about things, both big and small. At first, it was little things, like saying she couldn't come to family dinners because of work, only to post on social media that she was out with friends. Then it escalated to bigger things. One example that really bothered me happened recently. We were both supposed to attend a charity fundraiser. I was there the entire evening and never saw her. When I later asked if she had made it, she insisted that she had been there the whole time, and even said she saw me but was too busy to come say hi. This wasn't true. I know for a fact she wasn't there. The volunteers list was small and I definitely would have seen her. We are all in the same room. More recently, she lied about something involving a family event. We were planning a small gathering for my husband's birthday, and Emily told me she'd arranged a cake from his favorite bakery. The day of the party, she showed up empty-handed, claiming they lost the order. When I called the bakery to see what happened, they had no record of any order ever being placed. That was the last straw for me. I pulled her aside later and confronted her about her constant lying. I tried to be calm and respectful, but I told her that her dishonesty was starting to affect how I viewed her and that it was creating tension in the family. She literally messed up my husband's birthday with these lies. She completely denied it and got really upset, saying I was making her out to be a bad person and that I was overreacting. My son got involved and is now angry with me. The whole thing has caused a rift, and now Emily refuses to come to any family gatherings unless I apologize. I feel like I had every right to call her out, and I have nothing to apologize for. Not the a-hole. I could not tolerate that lying either. Apparently your son does tolerate it, or he's in denial. You may have to choose between being right and having a relationship with your son, unfortunately. I truly have no idea what he is doing. It's so obvious. I don't know how he doesn't see it. Have you had a conversation with him about it? Yeah, I did that before. He brushes it off, claims I am trying to start an issue.